Okay, we are recording live now. Hello to everybody. This is Group 1's presentation. So what you'll see is for the next month or so, every week there will be at least one, typically two or three group presentations that is going to be presented by your fellow classmates. So this is great for several reasons. Reason number one is you get to be the experts in a certain topic. I think as an instructor, there's only so much I can do, and typically students are able to learn really well from each other. So it's a good opportunity to help fulfill the BYU Idaho's mission statement of teaching one another. And two, because of that, that means I don't have to do as much work too. So that's doubly good for me, and I appreciate that. So this is kind of the format that we're going to do, and luckily Group 1 here gets to be the guinea pigs for it. But they've got a good set of slides prepared, and I will go ahead and turn the time on over to them, and they'll start the presentation.
Okay, so we were on the American Medical Association, and next slide. So the AMA was founded on May 7th in 1847. The New York Medical Association, which came first, was founded by Dr. Nathan S. Davis and was submitted to the National Medical Convention, and this eventually led to the creation of what we now know as the American Medical Association 2 years later. And the goals of this new AMA were, this is a quote from their website: scientific advancement, standards for medical education, launching a program of medical ethics, and improved public health. Next slide. Okay. So the organizational structure, the American Medical Association is made up of several groups that meet together twice a year to discuss policies. I'm not sure if that must have been a typo on there. But it's made up of, there's 13 different groups that make up the AMA, so I just listed a couple. Sorry, my 5-month-old daughter is ready for bed. There's medical students, residents and fellows, academic physicians, medical school deans and faculty, physicians in group practice settings, retired and senior physicians, and international medical graduates. And there's a couple others that you can follow the link to get the rest of those. Next slide.
Okay, so this is me. Whom does it represent? From what I found, it was pretty much everyone from the beginning of the spectrum to the end of medical students, people who in residency and fellowships, early career physicians, and then I don't know if I read this wrong, if it really is their families or if they could just consider them a physician family of everyone that's in there. The goal is to, quote, unite and empower physician families. So the AMA also provides opportunities for people who have retired from being physicians so that they have opportunities to stay active and to share their knowledge and to be a part of that community and not just be kind of cut off. Next slide. Who is eligible to be a member? Just like the one before, is pretty similar. Everyone in there is eligible to be a member. They have different dues that they have to pay, and they range, like the different payments. Some of the younger medical students don't pay as much as the older ones that are already like established physicians. So starting with medical students, just starting out, those who are in their residencies and fellowships, newly starting physicians, and well-established physicians as well, along with those individuals, family members, spouses, or partners. Next slide.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Is it a professional organization? Yes. At first I wasn't so sure because it said that the definition of a professional organization is one that is not for profit, and they do have some profit, but they are a professional organization in that they are a large organization of physicians, like a group of people for the same purpose, and they're very powerful. And the quote that I found is, "The leverage they have far surpasses the ability of individual physicians to influence practice and policy. Historically, the AMA has protected the interests of physicians and often lobbied against health insurance. expansion of scope of practice for non-MD practitioners, and health reform. Next slide.
So the next slide, is it an advocacy group? The answer is yes. They actually have a whole department dedicated to doing this. It's called the American Medical Association Advocacy. And they do go before Congress and the administration of Washington, D.C., and they do delegate through that. And they also help out on the state level too, through state legislation and in other policies, helping patients and physicians to get what they want and need for in the state level and in the governmental level. Next slide. What % of all physicians in the U.S. are members? So this was kind of cool. And when it first started out in the early 1950s, about 75% of U.S. physicians were part or members of the AMA. But slowly over the years, you can see that it declined. In 2011, their reports estimated that they only counted as 15% physicians were members of the AMA. That's not including medical students or people working on the residency. But in 2016, they estimated that less than 25% of practicing physicians in the U.S. were members of the AMA. And that could be due to multiple problems, but the biggest problem I found for the decline of participation is a conflict in interest. For example, the AMA released an endorsement for Tom Pierce to be the United States Secretary of Health. And a lot of doctors and physicians were not agreeable to that, and they signed there's like 500 doctors that signed a document saying that they don't agree with the AMA, and soon more physicians followed after that. Next slide.
Sorry, wrong button. Policies supported by the AMA. The AMA actually tends to lean a little bit more conservative when it comes to their policies. They tend to support GOP candidates and, like I said, a little bit more on the conservative side. The AMA supports policies that provide for health savings accounts, flexible spending accounts, and the Medicare Patient Empowerment Act. It also supports the repeal and appropriate replacement of the Medicare Sustainable Growth Rate, along with other portions of Obamacare. The AMA has always supported the war on drugs, including, as of 2013, continued studies into the efficacy of medical marijuana. Now, it's now 2017, but there's not a lot of updated information as far as the AMA's support or lack of support toward the legalization of marijuana at this point. The AMA supports the rights of patients to receive medical care regardless of gender or sexual preference. The AMA takes no official stand on abortion and allows each member to form their own beliefs. And next slide, please. Policies that are not supported by the AMA, and again, I chose policies that are more in line with current public debate and conversation. The AMA does not support civil suits being determined by juries. The association recommends appointing a forum of similarly educated peers. The AMA does not support a single-payer policy. The AMA does not support forcing doctors into using only computerized patient files. The AMA does not support female genital mutilation. The AMA does not support eliminating public funding for Planned Parenthood. The AMA does not support prohibiting doctors from performing abortions. And that's all on policies.
Okay, is that it for your presentation?
I
Yes,
believe
sir.
so.
Perfect. So very good job, first of all. What we're going to do now is just do a brief Q&A on just a few questions that came to mind as I was watching through yours, listening to what you had to say. So let's start things off for whoever wants to answer this. if you were to very simply describe, as if you were speaking to a junior high or high school aged person, of what the American Medical Association is or does, how would you describe? What would you say and how?
I'll answer that if anybody else doesn't mind.
Go for it.
I would consider it to be an advocacy organization for physicians and, like they said, their families, in order to create an environment where physicians are not out there on their own, where there are journals and publications that people can refer to that help them to research and understand the things that are going on in the medical world and how to approach different facets of it. It probably wasn't as detailed as it could have been.
Okay. And then another question would be, why wouldn't a physician, and Robert, I know you answered this in your little part, but let's expand a little bit more. Why wouldn't a physician or a provider join the AMA?
So I can actually weigh in on this.
Yeah.
My husband is actually in physical therapy school, and so I was telling him about this project we're doing, and he was like, "Oh, you have to tell me all about the AMA because they don't like us as physical therapists." So we were talking about that, and he said that one of the things that they, like through the years, that has become kind of a common theme is just that they have kind of been known to be power hungry. And I don't know, I mean, that's not like official for sure. I don't know that how true that is or if that's just his bias, but just that I think a lot of people wouldn't want to join because of either some of their policies they don't agree with, or the stances they take, or they feel that they probably can't, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess just that they can't follow along with what they're doing because as a physician or a provider, they have different ideals, and so they don't feel the need to join, or they feel, yeah, that they prefer to be on their own rather than part of a community, this kind of community, I guess.
I think that's great. No, that's a great explanation. Why would you want to be a part of an organization if your values and your beliefs as a provider, as a physician, does not align with that as a whole? And that's very well put. I guess the last question would be now is, why would a physician want to be a part of the AMA? Advantages.
I guess maybe just the opposite of what Caitlin said for why would they want to be. Why wouldn't they would be why would they be, sorry, they would want to be a part of it is because their ideals aligned, or they saw it as maybe a newly starting out physician saw it as kind of a support network of a group of doctors. It's a large association, and so just something to be a part of and something that they are on the same page with, and then just a big group of people to look to and work with.
Can I pop in on this one too?
Of course.
Yeah.
On one of their policies, I think one of the reasons that somebody would join are policies like the one where with the medical malpractice suits, the AMA supports, it does not currently support the jury system of finding guilt or innocence in a medical malpractice suit and what the civil suit, the compensation amount would be, because they feel like other doctors and other people in the medical profession would be better equipped and better judges of whether a malpractice had actually taken place or not. And so those type of support policies would be attractive to someone who wants kind of an umbrella protection like that.
All right. Well, very good. We will go ahead and wrap things up. Thanks for your response and the hard work that you've done with this presentation. And for everybody watching this is a great example of what we're going to be looking for your presentation. So I appreciate your hard work on it. I will let you go and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night, your Wednesday evening. Unless there's anything else you'd all like to add?
I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
Do you recommend then when we watch everybody else's presentation that we take notes on what we learn?
If you want to.
Okay.
I think the course talks about how it's free game, that how any of this information can be put onto the quizzes or tests or whatever else. Some of it might be, but not all of it for sure. So I think if you're able to grasp some of the, I guess, the more important concepts from the presentation, it'd help out. The other thing I'd also recommend is before you watch it is jump back to the first week and see what it is that they need to be covering, just like how you had certain topics that you needed to cover here in the AMA. They do as well. And so you can have kind of keywords or something to kind of follow along with that you should be looking for from the presentation, try and get from there.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Good question.
Guys, thank you so much for being such a great group.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for helping out.
Everybody did awesome.
No problem.
Yeah, you guys did great. Enjoy your evening, and thanks again for being the guinea pigs.
Thanks.
You did a great job. Great example. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Good job, guys. Bye.